Greetings, brothers and sisters. Cruella sequel in the works, even though 101 Dalmatians already exists. And so I got a bunch of stuff to get to. Kamala Harris's bogus trip to Mexico and Guatemala. Follow up on Ellie Kemper, whatever her name is, giving an apology. And then a CNN reporter, CNN pimping out Brianna Keeler eating bugs. Got a big thing to do with that. And some dude said Khloe Kardashian looked like an alien. So lots of stuff in no particular order. Let's start off here, though. And so a sequel to Disney villain origin story starring Emma Stone is in development at Disney.
Fashion looks. Were all of them comfortable? Was it fun for you? What was that transformation like?
How did it feel wearing clothes in Cruella? Right?
Well, I mean, I don't know if fashion and comfort always go hand in hand. A lot of them weren't the most comfortable thing.
Listen to the music they're playing behind this thing. Like, you're talking, right? There's nothing harder. When you're in a situation where there's loud music, a concert or a bar, and trying to have a conversation with the music behind you, right? It makes it impossible to listen to someone and connect with them. They play music now in restaurants or have the TV blaring, right? You have to work to have a conversation. You really can't connect to people and their energy, right? It's confusing. And so you're trying to listen to this drivel, she's playing music behind her.
Well, I mean, I don't know if fashion and comfort always go hand in hand. A lot of them weren't the most comfortable things, but they were so much fun to wear, and there were so many of them.
They're uncomfortable, but they're so much fun to wear. Like, it's just, I was talking about this yesterday in my Hilaria Baldwin video, right? Where there's so much effort and emphasis put on what other people think of you and how you look, right? It's a difference between having a house that looks good on the outside or looks good on the inside, right? Like when you're in the inside, which is most of the time, like you spend in your house, you're on the inside. And so the inside of your house can be a pigsty, a mess. It could have mold or just bad energy and, whatever. But it looks good on the outside to other people. A lot of people spend most of their time, I'm using this as a metaphor, of making their house look good on the outside. And their insides are, a mess, right? The heartfulness meditation that I talk about. And so she says the outfits were uncomfortable, but so much fun to wear. What are you talking about? No, they were uncomfortable. Like, not fun to wear if something's uncomfortable. Yeah, it's a straitjacket. It really sucked, but it was so much fun to wear.
I look stunning. I don't know about familiar, darling.
It's kind of surreal to think that, these costumes that took months and months to make.
So it's about clothes, right? Somebody who eventually is going to want to kill and skin puppies. I mean, that's what Cruella is known for. And her last name, by choice, is the devil.
Made it into the movie for like 15 seconds.
Was it a lot of fun on set with all the dogs and puppies? Did you guys just want to take them home?
And skin them. And here's the problem with this, that people are spending money on these movies. Maleficent movies, there was 2 of them, and they made money, especially the first one. I don't know about the second one, but enough to make a sequel, and they were successful. And then Disney had that Descendants series, which was about grandchildren of villains, 4 of them. And so now making the villains the hero is very profitable. Cruella's making money. And people are bringing their kids to see this. They are, having their kids see this, Cruella Devil, and, they're supporting this. So, this is, you can blame Disney, but if people are going to pay money and watch villains become heroes, this is Disney's new thing. And if you look at most of these movies, not just Disney movies, oftentimes the villain is the better character. Even though the villain ends up losing and the hero, whatever it is, the villain's the more interesting character. The villain is, the better role for an actor. And now the villains are the heroes. They're reversing all these things. And so you can make a case that the villains were always the heroes. They were always the protagonist. They were always, given more character development. Now it's just right in your face, right? And so this is what's happened in 2020. Cruella is getting a sequel, and people are spending money on it. People are supporting it. People are watching it. And so, you can't blame the so-called elite or controllers for everything when people are just, they hold the hand that holds them down. Kamala Harris takes her first steps onto the world stage into the migration policy spotlight. And then this was from a couple days ago. There she goes walking down the steps, going to Guatemala, right? And I was watching the news this morning, and she told the Guatemalans, don't come to America, right? She put out a firm no. These people who are in such desperate situation, they're willing to send their kids across 1,000-mile desert by themselves to get out of the hell they're living in, to come to America. But when Kamala Harris says no, they won't come.
And I want to emphasize that the goal of our work is to help Guatemalans find hope at home.
Keep hopium alive.
At the same time, I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come.
Not a very strong statement on her part. No one's listening there, right? The majority of people are coming, don't speak English, don't have access to cable news, right? Don't have access to any of these things. And that's not going to be a deterrent, but that's political, right? That's her political, where she's shaking her head. Don't come, you guys. Whatever you do, don't come, right? This is her going down there and delivering this stern message. And the reason that this is happening, this is Kamala Harris plane forced to return to Andrews Air Force Base due to technical difficulties. The reason that it's happening now and she didn't go right away, because this immigrant season is over. Jojo Magoo was talking about this. Even Jojo said it, that whenever the spring rolls around, there's an influx of people coming to the southern border. And then it dissipates because of weather and other things. So statistically, they did the same thing with COVID, right? You can game the numbers. Statistically, there's going to be less of a crisis now. That's why she waited 2 months to go down there. And so there's going to be a reduction of people coming over the border illegally now that it's getting hot and things. So it's going to look like after she went to Guatemala and delivered this stern message, she had an effect. This is just political. And, that's just, like how embarrassing. Like how embarrassing to live that way. Shameless, right? It's just fake as F. So Ellie Kemper, sorry for being a queen of allegedly racist, sexist, and elitist ball. And she gave a lengthy apology on Instagram. Here's her Instagram page. She looks kind of ghoulish, like maybe possibly a mean person, right? Like, that she probably is when she's not trying to be a celebrity brand with fake smiles, that she's actually kind of mean. But she got caught up in this thing, and she said this. Hi, guys. When I was 19 years old, I decided to participate in a debutante ball in my hometown. The century-old organization that hosted the debutante ball had an unquestionably racist, sexist, and elitist past. She went to a debutante ball that was elitist? I can't believe that, right? The whole idea behind debutante balls is that they're elitist. I was not aware of this history at the time, but my ignorance is no excuse. After she just used it as an excuse. Then why say it? I was not aware of the history at the time, just saying, but it's not an excuse. This is not an excuse, but I was old enough to have educated myself before getting involved. Yeah, because that was going on in the 70s, that a 19-year-old girl would look into just in case there was a thing called the internets later and she was going to be a celebrity, right? I unequivocally deplore, denounce, and reject white supremacy. At the same time, I acknowledge that because of my race and my privilege, I am the beneficiary of a system that has dispensed unequal justice and unequal rewards. Good, you're going to give your money back. Give your money to people who have been less fortunate than yourself. Your generational wealth. She comes from a family of wealthy people, bankers and businessmen, and her, grandmother had like a library named after her, right? The reason she was in a debutante ball is she's elitist. She comes from the so-called elite. There is a very natural temptation when you become the subject of internet criticism to tell yourself that your detractors are getting it all wrong. But at some point last week, I realized that a lot of the forces behind the criticism are forces that I've spent in my life supporting and agreeing with. So now you realize that you and your friends are full of crap, right? Now that they've turned on you, I believe strongly in the values of kindness, integrity, and inclusivity. I try to live my life in accordance with these values, and my experience is an indication that organizations and institutions with pasts that fall short of these beliefs should be held to account, and they have to see this experience in a positive light. See, the issues here is it was weird, and it is elitist, and it's got all this stuff in it. It was something that they started to include African American members long before she was crowned queen. So really, that's not what this was about. This was about some weird, why are they wearing veils? And one of the guys was unmasked. One of these veiled prophets was unmasked, right? It turned out it was the vice president of Monsanto, this evil, GMO corporation. And so the thing is really creepy. And, she just happened to be a part of it when she was 19. And she didn't go back and look into this on her own and say, wow, I made a mistake here, you guys. I was a part of this. And I'm a part of generational wealth because her grandfather was a powerful banker. These were people with money in Missouri, St. Louis or whatever it was. And they had, family money. And then she became a celebrity and made lots of money, right? And so she didn't look into this thing on her own and say it was creepy and Illuminati and, why the veiled masks and the whole idea behind debutante balls and all these things. And, she didn't see this thing and go, oh, wow, I did this when I was 19 and I'm going to apologize for it. She was caught by the internets. Not really, because, 19-year-old. I mean, when we were all 19, we did stupid things. Very few people, make great decisions when they're 19. And so this idea of holding everybody accountable for everything they did when they were 19 and holding people accountable is just bogus. This whole idea that people think they need to hold other people accountable. Hold yourself accountable, right? Like, hold your own suckiness and your own contribution to this thing accountable. Everyone running around thinking that it's their job to hold other people to account are usually the suckiest people. Like, they're the worst people. People who, claim to be religious and they're just looking for ways to damn other people and tell other people they're going to hell, or, liberals and these progressives that are, themselves evil, angry, violent people inside, and they're selfish and they're, got all kinds of psychological issues, and they're out there trying to force their beliefs on other people and tell you how bad you are, right, based in the demographic that they think is more evil than their demographic. And so, this is why our society is crumbling before us, right? People don't hold themselves accountable. Like, this is the heartfulness meditation. You look inside and you see what you have inside you. If you have anger inside of you, then it's your anger. If you have fear inside of you, it's your fear. If you have hatred inside of you, it's your hatred. It isn't the object of your hatred. Your object is the object outside of yourself is just mirroring back what you have inside, which is hatred, right? You have hatred inside and somebody's pulling it out. They might be a horrible person. They might maybe even deserve to be, to be reviled in some way because they're like evil people. but still the stuff that you feel inside of yourself is within you. Like when you purify yourself, when you've cleaned out all your hatred, you'll be a different person. And so, there's these villains out there, negative people, the so-called elite that people get so mad at, and everybody else, like that's not a real mask. And so she looks psychologically disturbed. Anyways, let's move on here. Khloe Kardashian slams critic who calls her an alien due to new look. That's not a new look. That's her messing up her face more with plastic surgery, right? And, the guy's got visual evidence here of potential alien activity. That's what happens when you get lots of plastic surgery. You end up looking like an alien. I think everybody should be aware of that you're going to end up looking like a reptilian. You're not going to look human if you get tons of plastic surgery. It's a known thing. Khloe Kardashian clapped back at a critic who called her an alien due to her ever-changing look. Sorry you feel that way, the Keeping Up with the Kardashian star 36 responded to a Twitter troll on Monday after being accused of getting plastic surgery. You have every right to block or mute me, she continued. I'm trying to help many out there who suffer in silence. I are completely entitled to your opinions, just as I am to mine. I don't think you should refer to yourself as a feminist if you are attacking a woman unprovoked. And so this is apparently, she has, this is where she's saying she's trying to help people here. This is her commercial.
I just heard something amazing. Now, for the first time, one medication was approved to treat and prevent migraines.
So this is where the person's saying she looks like an alien. And Khloe Kardashian is saying that she's just trying to help people by this paid advertisement that she's getting paid for on Twitter, in which she looks like an alien. She's just helping people by being in a commercial who have migraines, which, I have them. And I know that these medications, like I took Imitrex, and it worked great like twice. And then it had side effects. Years ago I took some of this stuff. I mean, these medications always come with, allopathic medications always come with unpleasant side effects. And they often only work temporarily, not just for migraines, but for everything, right?
Nurtec is the first and only option proven to treat and prevent migraines with one medication. Wonderful. One quick
That's her daughter named True, and she's hoping to have a son named False.
dissolve tablet can start fast and last. Don't take if allergic to Nurtec.
How would we know we're allergic to it? Don't take it if you're allergic to this medication. Well, how would we know? Don't take it if you're allergic. Well, take some and find out if you have an allergic reaction, and then don't take it again.
The most common side effects were nausea, stomach pain, and indigestion.
With Nurtec ODT, I treat migraine my way. What's your way? Ask your doctor about Nurtec to find out.
And here's the long list of stuff coming up here, right? That's with a commercial. And then they're going to get here if you have liver problems or kidney problems, are pregnant or plan to become pregnant, breastfeeding, or plan to breastfeed. Tell your healthcare provider, HCP, about all your medical conditions, including if you have these things, liver problems and all that stuff I just read. And so, long list of side effects always with these things, right? May cause serious side effects, including allergic reactions, including trouble breathing and rash. This can happen days after you take Nurtec. Call your healthcare provider to get emergency help right away. If you have swelling of the face, that's maybe why she looks like an alien. It's the Nurtec. Mouth, tongue, or throat, or trouble breathing. This occurred in less than 1% of the patients. Well, 1% is nothing, right? 1%? Like, if it's only 1%, then why make a big deal of that? Right? If it's only 1%, let's not close down the whole society or anything. And so she was getting paid for this thing. And then there was nausea and stomach pain, indigestion. Migraines there's a connection between your stomach and migraines, because I believe that's where serotonin is manufactured. Whenever I have a migraine, I have an upset stomach. So it's oftentimes, in kids get stomach aches and adults get headaches, right? And so it's they're connected. The stomach and the head, and pain in the head is connected with problems with your stomach and digestion. But anyways, she is pitching this thing out there, right, as part of her. She's doing this for money, and somebody said, hey, she looks like an alien, right? And she said, hey, you're not a feminist. And so that's life with the Kardashians. What we do know, I don't know about Nurtec, but I do know that plastic surgery is, and the more you get, is guaranteed to make you look inhuman. So my wife sent me this yesterday.
Researchers have rated the best and worst cities in the case of zombie apocalypse. Economic
What kind of researchers are they? I want to know more about these researchers.
Modeling Specialists International ranked cities on their ability.
Look at how serious she is. Let's watch this again. She's got the.
Researchers have rated the best and worst cities in the case of zombie apocalypse.
This is serious business. Listen to her. She's serious. This is serious business going on out there. The zombie apocalypse is coming, and research have rated where you live, and you should know. You should know whether your city is equipped for the zombie apocalypse.
Economic Modeling Specialists International ranked cities on their ability to defend against a zombie attack, stockpiling food, containing zombies, finding a cure. And if you live in New York City, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're toast.
All these people, all these places are horrible. California in general is horrible for any kind of apocalyptic event because there's only a few roads leading out, and it's the desert. I mean, it's just bad, right? And I don't know, Tampa, but certainly Chicago and New York City, right? Two places in California, including Los Angeles. The Los Angeles area. It's one of the worst places. You ever heard of Joel Skousen? He has a book out there called Strategic Relocation. And this is about, where the best places to live to survive one of these, apocalyptic events. And this is one of the worst places that's listed.
The city got the worst rating, followed by Tampa, Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Bernardino, California. Southern California really stinks. And Chicago. So the nation's three biggest cities, right? Best place to be? Boston. The city was rated as the place you most likely would survive.
Best city. They're not rating best places. They're rating the best cities. Because cities are the worst places to be in apocalyptic events. When things break down. Cities are the least likely to be able to, you just can't grow food, and, people are packed together and people panic and they gobble up resources. Cities are the worst places to be.
Other contenders here: Salt Lake City, Columbus, Ohio, Baltimore, Virginia Beach, and Norfolk, Virginia. But, I just have a problem with this, right?
You have a problem with the zombie apocalypse? Tell us what your problem is there, very concerned lady.
Here I live in New York City, and I will admit that Manhattan may not be the best place to survive a zombie apocalypse. Number one.
You're willing to go on record with that? You're willing to admit that?
One, the food is going to go really fast. Number two, they can climb stairs. And as everyone knows, your buildings go up really high. But think if you live in...
How do you know zombies can climb stairs? I mean, what's your... What's your intel on zombies and their ability to climb stairs?
In Brooklyn, also part of New York City, or Staten Island, you could contain the threat to Manhattan and still have lots of farmland to grow food. I think if you live in Brooklyn, you'll be just fine.
That's just classic sheepill mentality right there, right? She's talking about the ridiculous hypothetical situation. Maybe not ridiculous at all, but, ridiculous as far as to be presenting on the news, right? Like they have such a narrow bandwidth of reality that they're willing to cover, and they're taking seriously zombie apocalypses, right? On truther stuff, sure, but not on the mainstream media. And this is done by the UN, wrote a whole pamphlet, a whole book that turned into the World War Z movie with Brad Pitt. So this is something that's been out there in the mainstream, and scientists come up with scenarios if there's a zombie apocalypse. And the military, they talk about crazy conspiracy theorists, and then they take this seriously, right? But what she said there was pure sheeple rationalization. Well, look, I know that New York is rated the worst one by these experts, and you know how we love experts at the mainstream media. But let's be real here. Like, yeah, sure, Manhattan with their high buildings and their staircases that zombies love to walk up a staircase. But what about Brooklyn? You'll be fine in Brooklyn. Yeah, because you live in Brooklyn.
If you live in Brooklyn, you'll be just fine.
I'm not going to, I could just assume you live in Brooklyn because that's how people rationalize. She just heard New York's the worst place for a zombie apocalypse, and she's, taking it seriously for whatever reason. So instead of preparing and, doing whatever, changing and thinking about, this possibility, she's like, I'll be fine. They're just talking about Manhattan. They love staircases, those zombies. We don't have so many staircases in Brooklyn. We'll be fine. We can just close them all off in the staircases. Watch Brianna Keeler eat dead cicadas on live TV. So this is CNN. This is their official YouTube channel, and they are pitching this out there, right? They want you to see Brianna Keeler wearing gloves, right? Like, why is she wearing gloves? She's wearing, like rubber gloves here, or whatever those things are. She's wearing rubber gloves, because she doesn't want to touch the cicadas, but she wants to put them in her mouth. Like, I don't want to feel them in my hands, but I'm going to put them in my mouth. So we'll come back to this in a moment. It's something that they've done with various celebrities. Let's go to Nicole Kidman.
They're still alive. Extraordinary. Very moist, chewy. Can't quite describe the flavor, but need a little water. Let's start.
She's using chopsticks. She's sitting there all ladylike, right, and eating bugs. And then before that, there was Angelina Jolie and her family.
Have you done this before?
Yeah. I think it's always been a part of the diet, the bugs, but then I think there is a truth to the survival during the war. Of course, when people were being starved, they were able to survive on things like this, and they did.
When was the first time you had these bugs?
I first had them when I was first in country. Crickets. You start with crickets.
Yeah.
Crickets in a beer.
Because you always can get a beer in an apocalypse, zombie apocalypse.
And then you kind of, move up to tarantulas. Go ahead.
So they want you to, see celebrities, women particularly seen, because men will eat anything, right? When push comes to shove. I mean, most men. So they're targeting women with, famous sort of, Nicole Kidman is very prissy, right? Angelina Jolie, these model type of actresses, and showing them eating bugs because they want women to get used to this idea, especially, I guess, liberal women, because, food crisis is coming.
Across the country, billions, trillions of cicadas are making their appearance after spending the last 17 years underground. And no one is more excited to see these winged insects make their debut than my next guest, who cannot wait to put them on his menu. That is right. Joining me now is Bun Lai. He is a recipient of the White House.
Your name's Bun Lai? You're going to eat cicadas from a guy named Bun Lai?
White House Champion of Change Award. He is also the chef of Mia's, which is the first sustainable sushi restaurant in the world. Bun, thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you for skipping breakfast and getting ready for this experience.
I am ready.
She's ready. She doesn't have the plastic gloves on yet.
Well, no, I'm not really ready. I have to be honest. Okay.
Wait, did you just say you have to be honest?
Have to be honest.
Yeah, Brianna, being honest isn't your strong suit. I've covered Brianna's dishonesty before. Biden's presidential candidacy question after gaffes. And what this was about was in 2015, when Biden was mulling over a presidential run because he was the vice president and, Hillary had it all locked up. They did a hit piece on him, not just CNN, but so many places. We're sending a clear message to him. We like Hillary more than you. Don't run. And back then, CNN, and particularly here, Brianna Keeler, were acknowledging Joe Biden being a nightmare of a human being and a horrible politician.
Vice President Biden in the key primary state of New Hampshire today.
Much of the country's future will depend on the policies we choose in the next 2, 4, 6 years.
After recent travels to the early contest states of Iowa and South Carolina. But Biden's latest gaffes are stealing the spotlight away from speculation about his presidential aspirations.
Gaffes that they forgot all about. They forgot all about this in 2019 when Biden was running for president again after they selected him, right? This shows you how bad the news media is.
For their trust.
Like his strange hold on Defense Secretary Ash Carter's wife, Stephanie, and this claim of...
So she's got him. This is Brianna Keeler's voice in the back. She's the one doing this piece. So they got him being a groper, sniffler, snoozler.
About Somali immigrants in his hometown of Wilmington, Delaware.
It's a large, very identifiable Somali community. There's an awful lot of driving cabs, and are friends of mine, for real. I'm not being solicitous. I'm being serious.
And it turns out factually incorrect.
So he's lying. Where are your gumballs, Brianna? Right? CNN counted Trump's lies and gumballs. Where are your gumballs for Biden? So back in 2015, they're calling Biden a liar. He's just lying about, people from Somalia driving cabs in Delaware. He's just making things up, right? On the spot, that's what he does. He's a liar. And CNN knew he was a liar back in 2015. And now in 2020, they've miraculously forgot about Joe Biden being a proven liar.
15 Somalis live in the entire state, according to the Census Bureau. And Wilmington cab drivers told CNN they knew of no Somalis driving taxis.
No one is asked to respond to every time Joe Biden says something, and he says something every day that people should be responding to.
And so they were covering him as a liar, right? He was a known liar. He lied his way out of other times he ran for office. He was a groper, a snoozler, sniffing women's hair, creepy stuff, and he just made all kinds of gaffes. And CNN said, hey, we want Hillary, and this is the kind of coverage you're going to get from us. They're sending a message to Joe Biden that we're going to, the news media is going to go after you because they had already chosen Hillary. And, of course, we know how that worked out, right? Instead of coming up with a new candidate, they went back to Biden, even though he had all these things, and they said, all right, we just won't report on them, and the American people are too stupid and won't remember the way he was, and we'll just talk about how bad Trump is, and he'll win. And that's and whatever else went on there. This is how bad the news media is.
Marco Rubio, who is considering a run for president, and other Republicans are incensed. And on late night TV, Biden has become a punchline.
Ever heard of a second lady?
The missteps are nothing new. Over the years, Biden's become known for them.
Anyways, it goes on from there. I've showed this before, right? You can look it up if you want. But this is Brianna Keeler. That was her voice. She was doing a hit piece on Joe Biden. And now she's eating bugs, right? Somebody you can't trust because she has not said a negative word about Joe Biden in terms of the last 2 years, but she did a hammer job on him in 2015 when they wanted Hillary.
Hey, this is I haven't actually eaten a bug since I was 3 when I had a spider.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm really psyched about the whole trillions of cicada coming out.
You remember eating a spider when you were 3 years old?
For Brood 10. Because it's getting so much press and nature is getting press. So there's all sorts of important issues that this becomes a platform for. So eating insects is really the future, and it's been the past.
Eating insects is the future. Everyone realized that. All the cool kids are doing it.
Of humanity as well.
All right, so let's talk about what we're going to do here today. You walk me through this fun.
Sure. So we got some insects right here.
And you're going to put them in your mouth, and you're going to chew them, and you're going to swallow them.
Cicadas.
Okay,
so you
got
basically pick whichever one you want to eat.
Should I name them first?
No, you don't want to.
You don't want harder if you give them personality.
You don't want to name anything that you're going to be eating.
Fred. I'll name one vermin. Okay.
Let's make this as uncomfortable as possible.
So this is what? This is my seaweed.
Yeah, so we're gonna roll it just this way, all right? So we're gonna put on some gloves over here.
Perfect.
Cool.
You're putting on gloves now. Just stop.
Got it. Herman, what do you think about this?
I think my favorite Whitney Houston lyric is, I believe eating insects is the future. I mean, I love that song. No, look, I have intellect.
I've seen this guy. He's always made jokes that are, epically unfunny. Of course, he's on CNN, so he's got to suck at whatever he does.
Intellectual and culinary curiosity about this, but I'm really just here to watch you eat bugs.
Spread it right out.
Fun. My husband is not going to kiss me for a week.
I got no problem with kissing your husband, so don't you worry.
Wow, this is getting weird.
Great. I'll let him know you're available.
If he doesn't mind cicada breath.
Yeah, that was the whole point, that she said after she eats this bug, her husband wasn't going to kiss her, and you're eating bugs on a regular basis. You missed the whole point of her, her sad joke.
They're alive.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, I don't understand.
So the way you'll be doing it is just kind of put in. Oh, no. I was going to have you just use those.
No.
The really fresh ones.
Are you serious?
She's eating the live ones.
Serious?
Yeah. So there you go. I'm totally joking. Yeah, I'm going to put this
Wait, no,
back.
really?
So
Do I really have to eat a live one?
No.
Okay.
I was kidding.
I actually thought
Fred
I
is spared. Fred's.
You're supposed to be selling eating bugs, right? This is you guys, you're failing. CNN fails epically every time they try something, right? This guy's the bug guy. He's excited about cicada season, and she's supposed to be making this a good thing, and she's all weird about it and talking about her husband. Right? They're not selling this thing, and he says, "Oh, you're gonna have to eat live ones," because he wants to tease him, because he knows no one wants to eat bugs, even though he says it's the future. Make it something better than this, right? You guys are the worst salespeople.
Survives another day.
Ooh, Berman, the cicada's alive.
Yeah,
okay.
so here
good.
Yeah, so here are boiled
He had me
cicadas.
going, Berman. He had me going ahead of the segment, and I was like, okay, well, I didn't know that was part of the assignment.
Can I just tell you
I'm
one
here
thing?
to do my work. What?
You're about to eat dead cicadas, so don't get too excited just yet.
I gotta be honest. I think this was really good for him to tell me I was eating live ones, because this is seeming like an upgrade.
And if you look out the top.
Okay, just eat the frickin' bugs already. Stop with your yammering around.
This is what a cicada looks like when it's coming out of the ground.
Yeah, that's
So you got artwork over here as well.
Are you ready?
Cheers.
Actually, I'm less scared of this. Okay.
Oh, the crunch.
Do I have a wing hanging out of my mouth? Oh, it's literally in there.
It's not a wing, it's a leg.
Hey, that's actually quite delicious.
And we should trust you because it's quite delicious. It's one of the most best things you've ever done, eating a cicada. So the problem here, I was talking about this with my wife yesterday, is that the media is just horrible. It's not the media at all. I mean, it's gone past any, idea of actually telling you the truth. Actually having, each person in the media, each journalist, and again, these aren't journalists, having their own opinions and having their own sort of stories they pursue, and keeping the government and the corporations and this agenda in check. That's just completely gone, right? I was I turned on the news for lunch, and they were talking about what happened on January 6th and how horrible it was. I mean, this was CNN and, MSNBC and these celebrities and all these Democratic politicians. But when nobody seems to acknowledge, and this goes for the other networks, Fox and those, low budget networks, right? Like OAN and, the other one, Newsmax or whatever it is. They don't mention this either, that what happened on January 6th has been wonderful for the news media and the Democrats, right? This is a winning thing for the Democrats. It's a winning thing for social media. It's something that's a great story for them to push their agenda. It killed Trump. Trump has been deplatformed completely. If January 6th didn't happen, Trump would still be on Twitter, he would still be on Facebook, and he would have a voice, right? He would have, YouTube channel, he would have all these things. But because of January 6th, Trump has been hammered, and all the people following Trump are being hunted and suppressed, and there's storylines, and there's all this censorship of these people, right? This one point of view, the oppositional point of view. The Republicans are all kind of running. They're on their heels, right? And so this has been horrible for them. Like, nobody can deny that Trump lost this narrative in a major way. It's going to hurt his trying to run for office again. And then all the agenda that the Democrats are trying to push through, and social media and the regular media, at least, and even Fox is a part of that. And so they're pushing this through right now. And so what you have to ask yourself, I mean, each person, and I know what you're going to say, what I'm going to think, is that, are these people trustworthy enough? Do they really care? Do they really care about what happened on January 6th? Are they really sincere? And of course, there's going to be people who say they are, but the rest of us, these people are horrible people. Politicians and news media people, they don't have, they pretend to cry, right? Like, I did a whole compilation of all these CNN reporters crying. They pretend to have hearts and pretend, everyone has a heart, but theirs are so, hard and blocked off, right? There's a heartfulness meditation that I do. You have to have your heart cleaned enough, right? You have to open your heart. I want to talk about this because I'm getting a lot of questions from practitioners, people who are trying the heartfulness meditation or doing the heartfulness meditation. And I want to talk about, it takes some time for people's hearts to, come online, right? There has to be sufficient cleaning and just enough contact. And it's not something that happens automatically for people. I want to cover this in a separate video, hopefully today. But you have these people who are, they're just miserable, sociopathic, narcissistic people. And anything that happens, they try to use it as a weapon. And so if there's a story or there's an angle or there's an issue, they want to win that issue. And they've won so many of these issues recently, at least they pretend they've won them, and they force it down the American people's throat. But this is, them not being media, because that's not the media's job, to work with the government establishment. Like, everyone talked about Trump being the government, and Trump was never the government, right? Trump came in as an outsider, and they, treated him like an enemy, right? And, he brought a lot of that on himself. He went right after the intelligence community, and they went after him, and, he lost, which is something Chuck Schumer said that would happen, right? They'll get back at you 9 times till Sunday or whatever he said, 6 times till Sunday. But when you have a media that is working with the intelligence community, working with the government, working with corporations, and pushing a global agenda with other countries, and they refuse to cover things, and you have a social media that's doing their best to suppress any oppositional opinions, and you have so many people that just want to go along, right? They have, there's been so much crap and bad, disinformation and stupidity put out on social media. And there's so many people out there that are just dead inside, and their lives are too hard. They're unconscious. They're limping through life. They're just trying to make it to the finish line, right? They're bringing their kids to see Cruella Devil, and, they just don't care. They've given up caring, and they don't want to be hassled with having to think and, all these things. So this is why your civilization is collapsing, and that you need better people. Like, if these people were spiritual in nature, the media and politicians, and they had to answer to God, they have an internalized relationship with God, like in the heartfulness meditation, you have to go in and face yourself, not some artificial edifice that mask you put out in front of people, some illusionary brand that you build, but actually looking inside yourself and seeing what you are and connecting to God and realizing you have to do better. And so that's why only spirituality will save this world. It's paramount, definitely pointing from the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.